Today I will introduce effective approaches to attention-based neural machine translation to you. First, this is my outline. I will introduce abstract introduction, related work, models and comparison, and experiment. Finally, I will talk about the takeaways from this paper. First I will introduce the abstract. This paper examines. Okay. So this paper examines two simple and effective models here. First is the global one, which tends to cover all source words, and the other is local one, which looks at a subset of source words at a time. So the key result for this model is this used the different attention architectures to yield a new state-of-art result in 15 WMIT English to Germany translation task, and it gets 25.9 blue points, an improvement of 1.0 blue points over the existing best system. And then I will introduce the introduction. It mainly talks about the machine translation mechanisms in different years. Like in 2003, standard machine translation is proposed, and in 2014, the concept of attention has been gained popularity recently in training neural networks and has been applied to many areas. In 2015, there's a parallelization, like for Bandanu in 2015, they use attentional mechanism to apply to jointly translate and align words. And for the long here, they use a large neural network and train them in the end-to-end fashion. And if you see the figure in the left, there's a NN architecture, which means input the source word A, B, C, D, and we can get the target sequence XYZ one by one. And the EOS here means the end of statement, end of sentence. For the related work, NMT neural machine translation, there are mainly two components. First is the encoder part, which computes a representation as for each source sentence. And the second is decoder, which have generated the translation one word at a time and hence decompose the conditional probability. And if we see the forums in the left, we can see to compute the probability of this sentence, we need to concatenation all of the predicted words and use softmax to get the best one. And the G means the transformation function that outputs a vocabulary size factor. HG means the current hidden state. And F here is compute this HG by given the previously hidden state. So the related work, the other related work is the attentional mechanism. The difference here is because attentional mechanism covers all of the hidden states from the source side compared with NN, which only cares about the last layer, the hidden state from the last layer of the decoder. Okay, I will start talk about the global model. So there are mainly, there are several sharing points between the global one and the local one. First is they both use the hidden state from the target set to predict the H-body. And also they use the context factor, which covers all of the hidden states in the source set to the H-body. And finally, they use a simple concatenation of the CT and HT here to help predict the current target word YT. And the other stuff for the specific stuff for the global attentional model is the calculation of the alignment function AT here. It uses the score function, which using this which by comparing the hidden states from the source side and the target side. There are three kinds of computation mentioned here, the delta one, general one, or the concatenation one. Now we'll talk about the compare with the previous work. There are mainly three key differences between this work and the Bandano's work. First is for this global model, they simply use hidden states at the top LSTM layers in both encoder and decoder. But for the previous work, they used the concatenation of the forward and backward source hidden states in bidirectional encoder. And for the target hidden states, they use unidirectional decoder. And second difference is global model. The computation path for the global model is simpler. As we can see from the figure from the last page, we can see we can compute the H bar T from the hidden state of the target site and to the alignment function AT and to the context vector. And finally, we can get the HT, the H bar T. But for the previous work, it built from the previous hidden states. And the third one is previous work only consider the concat product in the alignment function. But as proposed in this paper, the author found the concatenation product actually doesn't give a good performance. And if you see the table from the output of the experiments in the left, we can find different model will have different fitting alignment function. Like for the global one, the dot performs the best, but for the local one, the general performs the best. So this is another finding. And later I will introduce the local model of this local model, and there are two mainly differences. First is for the context vector, it uses a small window of context. This is because when the input sentence is too long, the global model will consider all of the source words, which is expensive and impractical. So the second, this local model, the alignment vector, it is not fixed dimensional. And there are two kinds of alignment here. First is the monotonic alignment, which is same as the global attention. Second is predictive alignment. Here, it uses the WP and the VP here to help predict the position of P. And it also uses the Gaussian distribution function to favor the position of PT here. And S here is the sentence length, and the PT's positions belong to 0 to S. And the last approach I want to mention is the input feeding. The reason is because in the proposed attention mechanisms, the attention decisions are made independently, which means the current alignment decision is independent with the previous one. So here, H bar T is also concatenated with the inputs at the next time steps, as illustrated in the right figure. And for the advantages, they are mainly two. First is it can make the model fully aware of the previous alignment choices. And second, it can create a very deep network spanning both horizontally and vertically. For the experimental results, in the left part, this is the translation from the English to Germany results in 2014. We can see the model proposed by this paper has beaten the SOTA one. And for the left figure in 2015, the performance has got the 25.9 blue scores, and if it's 10 point blue over the SOTA one. But for the Germany to English translation, it didn't beat the SOTA one, but the performance is still good. And for the analysis of the experiment, we can see in the left part, the non-attentional curve expressed by the blue and the plus. We can see its learning curve is pretty slow. And in the red part, when the sentence length is getting larger, we can see the system mentioned here is very robust and always beat the other mechanisms. So finally, there are mainly four takeaways. First is this paper talks about two kinds of attentional models. One is global one, looks at all source positions, and the other is local one, which attends to a subset of a source sentence at a time. And the second is this work compared various alignment functions and shed light on which functions are the best for which attentional models. And the second, it proposed the dependencies between past alignment function and the future alignment function. And the fourth one, the attentional mechanism beats the non-attentional mechanism as shown in the experiment analysis. So thank you. 说太赶了。
东西挺多的。不过时间上没问题，正式还是15分钟是吗
？12分钟。
12分钟。
12
分钟那少一少。讲点重点吧。其实我是觉得现在每一部分都说的挺多，但是没有点那种强烈的。一般的话，我就会侧重，要不侧重方法，要不侧重结果吧。我觉得会两个选其。现在两个都说的挺多，但是
我是怀疑我肯定 experiment part 肯定说不到，就跟之前他们做 presentation 的时候，其实我邮件他们的 PPT 基本上也都是，前面主要都是讲很多，然后到 experiment 就主要让你看一下，因为老师就会说没时间了什么的，然后最后 take 我也会说一下，对，所以我一开始没有提 experiment， 但是后来我又就 check 了一下他的邮件，意思是说你要把这个 model 的主要核心部分讲一下，而且你要讲一下它是experiment 就怎么 train 它的，还有它一些方法什么，所以我就想那要不然就把它先还是贴上来。
我觉得还是要的。想看他的作业完整性。还是跟这说。
或者就是因为他这不是也是说了自己的，从英语到德语是相当于击败了其他，但是从德语到英语是吗？
好，大家有什么问题？优先网上的同学，你们可以说话，你们可以自动安静一下。
想问个问题。要用英语说吗？
我主意。
可以啊。
我就那个
说吧。
一下，
就是就最后那个 take away 的地
方。
就是我记得你的第3点好像说的是，就是 the dependency between past 这个 alignment information and future。然后就是我想问一下，具体这个是怎么体现在模型，或者在它文中？
因为它就这个的话，主要是在 input feeding approach 里。
就是我问问题可以用中文问，你建议用英文问。建议一下，因为会招他们可能会问他这些问题。
Okay, so this is demonstrated in the input feeding approach. Like here, the H bar T has been also as an input to the predict target word.
X 它应该是那个图里，就是想反映那个 X 预测的那个 H bar T 的时候，对应的 Y 的预测，然后会关联下来。就他想表达不是一个independent的关系，后面还有一个 dependent。对，它可能是后面那个表述就是 past alignment functions 和 future 这块。我是觉得那个表述的话，会一开始让我觉得有点奇。对，就是会感觉是 past alignment information 和 future 是不是双向啊，还是有什么其他的 function？后来就是一想以前那个，大家能理解到。
那要不然把它改成 previous 和 current。
我觉得会更好。是。对。
I have a question about the local attention.
Local attention.
Local
okay.
attention, you said about the position part. Position can be a fixed position, a fixed window that's used for local attention. And you said that it can be also a predicted one.
Yeah, right. For this,
but we don't have a ground truth for it.
ground truth. For this paper, it used so do you mean the how to set up the window size?
Yeah, you mean predicted one.
So in this paper, it used the empirically method, like it used a constant d to control the window.
Then it is not predicted. Or we don't have predicted window.
We don't have predicted window. Do you mean the position of P or the?
Yeah. The window is
the window is for the context vector.
Is for example centered at some words.
Yeah, right.
It is not dynamically. It is not, for example, 3 or 4 or 5. Yeah, it is always 3 as a hyperparameter.
This is for the monotonic one. It will be always PT equal to T. But for the predictive alignment, it use the sigmoid too.
I think he's asking about the window size.
Window size.
Yeah.
Then I think this paper only mentioned it used the uppercase D to express the window size.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's like empirically defined. Okay. Yeah. So I think because later I will also need to write up a long reading 读后感，所以它会让你说，就是这篇文章它可能的不好的地方是什么？所以我觉得你说这个是我就是要考虑的，应该是就是关于你这个 context 的 window size 是。Thank you.
One more question on the local attention models. What's the difference between the monotonic and predictive? Can you say more about that?
So for the monotonic alignment, PT is equal to T, which is a constant. But for the predictive alignment, you can see use the sigmoid to compute the PT. And the alignment function, it will use the Gaussian distribution model to have favor the PT, because the center will be.
I'm understanding right. It's like for monotonic, it's more like sliding a window, and then you will do for all the potential windows, right?
Yeah.
And for the predictive alignment, after calculation, you won't slide through all the positions.
Yeah.
And you will only calculate after the sigmoid and get the potential ones.
Yeah, get the center one. 我把这个记一下。
I have another question. I think in the original paper, it mentions about the comparison from this paper and to the
banana.
Yes, to the banana ones, and they mention about bananas are using the bidirectional hidden layer.
Yeah.
But for this one, it seems like only using one directional, right? Because I see the architect, it's like the RNA is only from left to right.
Yeah, they use LSTM too.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't, like in the page 8, the author said there are 3 differences. For the first difference, they simply use the LSTM. I think it's 2 layers of LSTM layers.
Oh, you mean for the hidden state also use bidirectional? Is that what you mean?
I should.
Because when I read the paper, I think I get a feeling that Banano using the 2 bidirectional, and they are using only one. And
Banano. So in the encoder part, Banano use bidirectional. For the decoder part, they use the unidirectional.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you mean here for the decoder, they also use bidirectional?
LSTM means bidirectional alignment.
Not necessary. Not necessary.
They only said they simply use LSTM layers, but they didn't talk about the fun.
Actually, I think it is very hard to use bidirectional decoder for the conventional encoder-decoder structure. There are plenty of new sequence-to-sequence structure to use a variety of different decoding strategy. Most of them are similar to beam search.
Beams
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So some of them I talked about last time use bidirectional decoding.
Mm-hmm.
But first the leftmost, the rightmost, the left second, the right second use this way. Or there are also some decoder use they decode all the tokens at the same time, like flow models.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think in 2016 and 15, people don't use bidirectional decoder. Because the conventional decoder, they use their input is the argmax of last time step.
Mm-hmm.
It is autoregressive decoder. Encoder part, you have already all the ground truths. You can directly feed all the ground truths to the encoder. But decoder, in the inference stage, you don't have the ground truths. You have to use the predicted ground predicted one last time step.
So do you mean for the decoder part, it only have the information from the previous one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's why they say banana one, they are only using the bidirectional encoder, or the decoder is only using the one direction previously.
Yeah, this is a good point, but I think our question is for if this paper use bidirectional also.
I think
when I traverse,
because I see in your page 8 you mentioned that it's like.
I think the meaning here is like they only use one directional for both encoder and decoder, but
like page 11, there is something like base plus reverse. Does that mean
11
reverse version of the model and probably add the indices together, something like that? I mean, from the slide, page 11, experimental results, and the column our neural machine translation systems. There are base plus reverse plus propel something. What is this reverse? Like.
Yes, it. And good question. I thought people were asking me what's the UNK here because the 对，因为这个 author 说 UNK 就是提升了很大的。
对。我记得他还尝试了 ensemble， 好像说 ensemble 的结果还不是很好，或者不是最好。
ensemble。
他不是在这块也尝试了那个 ensemble 8 models。
但他 ensemble 8 models 不是最好的吗？你说是 English to German？
我忘了是在哪个 experiment， 他说了那个并不是最好的，好像是某个 local 的是最好的。
我没找到 reverse 啊。
在那个就是论文的第7页，最上面那个表格，然后下面就是我们的那个，就是他们用他们这个提出的方法的 evaluation 里面那个 base 加 reverse。
对，我知道那 reverse 在那儿，但他没有。
不知道他说的是什么，他也没有看到。在那个。就是 appendix 的 A 里面有一个1段里面有一个 also essentially translate from English to German and reverse to source English.
让我没有
在最后 reference
是这个，这个你有
没有？我看错了。
哎，
我下载的 paper 可能不是完整的。
就是他应该说的是，对，你可能我要把这个发群。
我最后发的那个链接是有的。对，群里那个最后发了一个文章的链接。
就他应该是直接把输入直接倒过来。
输入直接倒过来。
直接 reverse。
对对，它也就相当于是一个。
也是个 bidirectional。
对。
那它俩有啥区别？那就没区别啊。
不是，但是你把输入倒过来，它还是一个顺序。
输入倒过来。
就是你说对于
bidirectional 的意思是你正着来一遍，倒着来一遍。
对。
然后把两边粘在一起。reverse 就是我直接给它倒过来。倒过来它还是一个顺序。
但是这里说的是 base 加 reverse。
对。
我不知道
那就是两个顺序。
我觉得它是两个不一样的，估计之后也会有处理的。
那你要别把俩加一块儿，是 encoder 加一块儿吗？
对。
我也不主要是不太清楚这里。
他觉得是 source English sentence， 这应该是在 encoder。
就是我不知道他这里的加号是 ensemble 还是说直接把什么跟对加在一起。他没有解释这里这个。
他没有说。对。对，就是
在论文的某个角落。
而且我能不能问一下 ensemble 8 models 啥意思啊？
就是
solid
8种方法的集合方法。
集合方法，他的意思是把每一个 performance 最好的 parameter 给他拿过来。
这得看它具体的，因为不同的ensemble不同的方法。
但他这儿也没有解释，所以其实讲 experiment 我挺虚的这。而且我不是看 Medium 上面有的人在那里总结这篇文章嘛，他们直接就说这篇文章用了2层的 LSTM 什么的，那这里有写吗？
那我没有写，我没觉得是2层。我刚才说的那个不如ensemble 的结果不是最好的，体现在原文的5.4那一节的最后一段。
5.4。
对，它是 alignment quality。
啊。
对，它在最后一段的话，它比较那个 AER 嘛，就是 alignment error rate。然后他说的是 ensemble 的不如这个 local 的那个结果更好，就说 ensemble 尽管 ensemble 很多，但效果不一样。
OK。
就是我说 reverse 这样是因为我看过他前面那几篇文章，前面那几篇就是他前面几篇说为 reverse 的时候就只是把 source reverse 掉，然后那个 target 是不变的。
对。
但是 bidirectional 是把 source 正序和倒序都 encode 完以后，把它的 hidden 粘起来，这是 bidirectional。
他把它 reverse 不是。你说把正序和倒序，它每个都有一个粘起来的 hidden state， 然后这两组 hidden state 一起作为信息传到 decoder 吗？是这个意思吗？
这个是 bidirectional。
是的。我就像这个的话，它是正序和倒序都有，但是它不一定怎么粘的，他没有说。
就是有可能，就是你的意思是，如果输入变了，然后 target 也变的话，其实顺序是一样的。你想说这个？就是
没懂。
就是你最后 decode 的顺序如果反过来，就是如果你输入是反过来的，decode 的顺序你也反过来，那是不是你的意思是它的顺序其实是一样还是一样？
不是，
他是说好像是如果你只是把 source 给调过来的话，如果你都做 bidirectional 的话，实际上结果没有区别。
不是
啊，这也太难了。我之前看这个的时候，我觉得他主要是想说 base 加 reverse 加 dropout 的话，不是拿到一个14.0的分嘛，然后你加上 attention 以后，他能拿到19，所以他说有一个5的提升，就是说这个主要想体现的就是 non-attentional model 就效果很差，但是就是好像没有其他的。
就是那个啥，就是我上一期跟你们说过 reverse 这个事儿，就是他把 source reverse 掉是为了增加，是为了减少它的 dependency 距离。就是你还记得吗？就是我比如说中文的句尾 中文的句尾是我倒过来就变成句首了，然后它和英文的句首是挨着最近。
对，这个我记得。
对，它那个。
但是你说的好像只有一个 layer 吧，就是只是把它 reverse 过来，然后给 decoder。就比如说 I love NLP， 然后如果要是好像你是说 performance 好的话，应该把它反过来 NLP love me， 然后这样的。
这是为了让手脸快。
听起来长，感觉 intuitive 感觉是对。
我记得在哪块我提这个问题，他好像在文章的某个部分特地强调了他和之前那个那篇文章的比较，然后就提到了这一块了。回头可以单独读一下那一块。
哎，阿凡给我发了一个东西，是 reversing 的。等一下。这从哪儿？方老师发了一个链接，这个上面有写 reverse， 第6页有写。
发到咱们的 Google Doc 里面了，是一个 sequence to sequence learning with neural network。
LSTM learns better 的。
哦，那可能是这篇文章引用了这篇文章，然后这个论文这里面就给我说了。
他想说的是不是 LSTM 比 bidirectional RNN 要表现好呀？
是。
所以说，即使同时都有2个双向概念，它的双向也是不一样的。Interesting。
我是当时就是读到这块，就是我能明白这个结论的意思，但是
不知道。
对，我不太知道为什么会放弃。我以为大家什么会放好。那其实这篇文章是用的是2边都用 LSTM。
对。我来加个引用，是个 good point。希望老师不要问我这个。然后我就说 go to this link and find it by yourself。
可以。
哎，不行，我得走了。谢谢大家，感恩的心。对，我要去 rehearsal。拜拜，谢谢方老师，谢谢各位观众给我这个机会。拜拜。
加油。
拜拜。